GD is at a very slow point in its development, and while it's been through these kinds of periods before, this one seems fairly substantial, with that of the zero attention from the developer, an 18-month wait for the update, and the community falling apart with some of its biggest influencers either quitting or moving on and being taken down. This slump is one that may be hard to recover from. GD returning to its glory days peak before the game dies now is highly unlikely, but there is still hope for the future of the game if a certain few events happen, breathing new life into the game and the community. I've done a video on how I believe GD will die if the game never recovers, so today I thought I'd analyse the other side of the coin. How will GD be revived and be brought back from the brink? Well, the short answer of course would be 2.2, but there are loads of other factors which I believe could convert the waning, stagnant game into an interesting and healthy gaming community once more. Obviously last time with the death video I had loads of people complaining that I'm much too negative about the community, and I know in this video I'll have the other side of it where I'll have people complaining that I'm beating a dead horse by daring to assume that the community could go on from here. I'm not sure if there's a scenario where I can win, but regardless it's still fun to forecast, so let's dive straight into it. So what's the first thing to get the cogwheels turning? 2.2, right? Well, not necessarily. One thing that could get the game up and running before the update comes out is from the self-proclaimed Dutch GD player that you kinda know, Nobbleboy, in the form of God Eater. Thrives on videos that get views, all the better if they come from the wider gaming community and appeal to a dynamic outside of the already hardcore fans. A great example is Bloodbath, 5 million views, and it shaped the community leading into 2016. Alex Payne videos are yet another great example. His multi-million view videos on Supersonic, Windy Landscape and 9 Circles got attention from the wider gaming community and hence became a flagship for GD levels. God Eater can be the same, given the views on each of its preview video and Nobbleboy's Bloodlust video views as an estimate. We can say with a certainty that when God Eater is released in the not too distant future, it will be quickly on its way to 1 million views. It's worth mentioning that God Eater is one of the levels that pushes the limits of the game so far that it could help GD to be noticed outside of its stereotype as a little block platformer, and instead a developed game you can create something genuine and impressive with. It's worth noting that God Eater's release will probably bring some big players out of inactivity, namely Sonics and the like. The level is an extreme demon but not crazily difficult. Based on Sonic's usual video tally, he can expect about 300,000 to 400,000 views if he returns to beat the level. Overall, God Eater will provide the gentle push into life the community needs to get it moving again before the new update. Okay, so now we're talking about 2.2. This one is self-explanatory really. 2.2 needs to come out. It's been so long with so little progress made, but there's still 5 months left in the year. It's optimistic, but I hope 2.2 comes out before the end of 2018. This would have a profound effect really. It would implement not only a new level which would generate videos with millions of views, but it would also implement all the upgrades and new features which will evolve GD as a game. Despite its delay, it may well be worth the wait if it has enough content to truly relaunch the community and bring new players into the game. With the wealth of new features will come loads of new solo levels with big creators and new things early on to test out stuff, meaning levels may be less sterile as the update hasn't had time to manifest, meaning we may get some quirky, interesting levels while creators try out new things. Hopefully RobTop will be more on hand to feature new levels, and so before long we'll have a completely new range of GD levels with an abundance of features, just like we did in early 2.1. Chiefly, there will be loads of new ground to explore. This will also be helped by the fact that 2.2 will no doubt prompt previously quit players to return to the game to get a new feel for the update. We saw this with Darnock, the game's most important player in history, when he returned after 2.1 was released. We will also get people like Truster, who will no doubt return to feature new levels in his commentary series, and this might get his 90,000 fans interested in the game again. There will be a huge trickle-down effect of positive outcomes, but time is running out to implement the update. One thing that is an absolute must though, 2.2 must be shorter. It is not sustainable to have 18-month long waiting periods between updates. It's been almost 3 years since 2.0 was released, and we're only in the middle of 2.1. Indie mobile games don't have the lifespan to be messing with such long-term waiting times. Even if this means sacrificing more features and making 2.3 a smaller update, so be it. There is simply no other way around it. With RobTop back to the community off the back of the update, he will need to fix his game, as there's quite a lot wrong with it currently. Obviously, I talk about rating levels all the time, but Crimson Planet is starting to become a bit of an issue. A potential new top 2 candidate demon that is either being ignored or is not being picked up despite being out for months. Levels like these need to be rated in order to keep the demons list authentic, as we cannot have a 2-speed system of unrated extreme demons outranking rated demons. The next thing to fix is the leaderboard. I simply cannot believe it hasn't already been done. The leaderboard refresh has been broken for a year now, and RobTop announced that he'd fix it months ago with no avail. We need the leaderboards to be fixed, and if they are, it might cause star grinders to be a bit more interested again. GD achievement can't just be extreme demons. We need different strings to the bow of the game, and star grinding is an important one that could help to restore some depth to it. We generally just need a tidy up and some in-game maintenance in order to make sure that it feels more like a game and not like a dick measuring contest of extreme demon grinding. Another fairly obvious thing that needs to happen is for big hyped upcoming levels to be released. We have loads of big projects we've been waiting for, and having them all released within the time frame of late 2.1 and early 2.2 will work wonders. Some great examples are Knight Rider, a Noobs' mega collab with a star-studded team that we haven't actually really seen any decent decorated gameplay for yet. There's also Kenos, the buffed extended Sukumen Hell rebirth, which will most likely be Combine's next big demon release and will surely be in the top 3. There's Woodkid, another important level for illustrating just how far GD has come in the past few years graphics wise, and this is on the same page with Catharsis. We also have Ouroboros, which was extremely hyped at one point, but we've just seen too little activity for it to be viable. But if it was released, it will be in the top 10 and will be amazing and a great looking art mega collab. The Ocular Miracle is a must, this huge gameplay mega collab that is Gaiden Hurtney's crowning achievement at the moment, another big flagship level for the community. And somewhere in the mix we may finally have some clarification on the future of Sonic Wave Infinity, which is now under new development by the AP team. Perhaps this will be a great huge level for the community to marvel over. Generally, we need these levels and their videos to drum up more new interest both in-game and externally. On the same page about depth and different streams of activity within the community, these factors may well prompt new life out of the creating community. Obviously the creating community is still incredibly active, but as GD becomes more redundant, the general process of level release and building just seems to be pissing in the wind. But with 2.2, the update will prompt loads of new ground and creativity as I mentioned, and levels will become more diverse as people find their feet, hopefully leading to a full range of new levels. There will be loads of opportunities to keep the creating community productive, and this is another prolific part of the game that helps add to its appeal. The next thing that needs to happen is kind of a weird one, but stay with me. We need a new big player to go nuclear around the community. Obviously, we have a few contenders in the form of Wave, Technical and the like, but the fact of the matter is they are creeping up in subs very slowly. We need them to explode onto the scene, making them the new Riot or Sonics. The way to do this is through the level verification of a very big anticipated level. A great example was Sonic's and Sonic Wave. He had fewer than 20,000 subs now, and almost 2 years on he has over 100,000. In order to get these future players on the world stage, they need to be verifying things, creating their own prolific videos. Some examples? Well, Technical was the rumored verifier of Cimerian Shade, and that has received a lot of coverage in the last year, but now that's being verified by Padbot. This will be a huge difficult level that will attract hundreds of thousands of people to their channel once it's finished. Another player, Benji8080, has Zodiac, Rico LP's old mega collab, so once this progresses he may have more of an audience. Other than that, there are no huge levels out there for these players that spring to mind for me and that will give them enough notoriety, but no doubt with 2.2 coming out there will be plenty of fresh opportunities for them all. As we well know, GD doesn't appeal to old players over time, but this doesn't restrict the old gods of the game from coming back and still taking part in the community, Riot being a good example. Even after he quit, he stuck around for a while and did things like releasing Tartarus and unveiling a few projects. Though lots of new players are now quitting cold turkey, there's nothing to say that channels with huge audiences couldn't become community activists after quitting the game, following Riot's example. Obviously, you have to evolve as a content creator in order to stay relevant, so perhaps more channels could do what Truster has done with a transition towards skits, parodies and other new kinds of content. Older players evolving would be an excellent way to keep fair weather fans involved in the game and on YouTube. Finally, the next thing that will fully restore GD is something to look forward to, a new huge upcoming Extreme Demon mega collab with the calibre of Yetagarasu. Now, I know not everyone likes Extreme Demons, but there's a definite spike in interest in the game when we all have something big to look forward to. In order to deliver something like this, we would need a similar team to that of Knight Rider or Digital Descent, a huge team incorporating extremely famous, skilled and well-known creators. And the theme would have to be pretty interesting too. It would have to be marketed carefully, just a preview here and there won't build enough suspense like with Ouroboros. With Yetagarasu, it was Riot who brought so much notoriety to the project. This would have to be a famous, active verifier like Sunix, although he's left the game now. It would have to be previewed regularly to keep renewed interest in it, or it will risk becoming an Ouroboros pretty much has. In order to give it the story arc it needs, it would probably have to stretch over the duration of the update, signifying the end of the slightly shorter 2.2 update we've discussed. The journey from the beginning of the verification would attract hundreds of thousands of views to it, and would be absolutely instrumental in seeing the update draw to a close, so in my mind it's vital. So there are all my ideas on how this game, as opposed to being on the decline, could turn the corner and start rising again. And that makes 2 videos on the future of the game, one an optimistic approach and one for a pessimistic approach. What do you think of the ideas put forward here? Furthermore, which eventuality do you think is more likely? Be sure to let me know and have your say in the comments below. I thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please help it out by giving it a thumbs up, and if you're new around here, if you could consider subscribing and checking out some of my other videos, then I'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot guys, I'll see you all soon.